I don't understand why it hurts so much right here.
One thing that's coming first right now, and it's not king crab. It's addiction and it's drug use.
From losing expensive shooting equipment while filming the show to facing chaotic waves in the Bering Sea, Deadliest Catch just got shut down after they lost another captain to the dangerous sea. How did we get here? The Bering Sea, where Captain Sig Hansen and his crew bravely face the unpredictable waves to fish for crab, is both a beautiful and unforgiving place. Each episode of Deadliest Catch showcases the beautiful yet dangerous Alaskan waters. While most shows focus on happy moments, this one likes putting viewers on edge with every dramatic and potentially dangerous quest in the icy waters. These rough conditions create an emotional experience that leaves audiences both captivated and uneasy. But beneath this thrilling adventure lies something far darker, a raw, unyielding danger that hangs in the air. It makes everyone wonder why these men, season after season, face such deadly odds. To most viewers, these moments seem like life or death. For Sig and his team, though, it's just part of the job. For them, it's the thrill of the adventure that keeps them going. Since the very start, Captain Sig has been the backbone of the series. His strong personality and steady leadership have won fans over since the show aired its first episode in April 2005. Over the years, Sig's presence has been a constant, strengthening the show's relevance through its ups and downs. But that's not all. Sig hasn't only been a fixture on Deadliest Catch, but has also appeared on spin-off shows like After the Catch and The Bait. With Sig's already established popularity, it was no surprise when he got invited to multiple talk shows. From the beginning, fishing has been a part of Sig's life. Born on April 28, 1966, in Seattle, Washington, he comes from a long line of fishermen. Sig stepped onto the deck of a fishing boat at just 14 years old, back in 1979, years before reality TV would make his face known to millions. Nowadays, Sig sets off on these dangerous crabbing trips with his crew, facing even the dangerous storms that other fishermen run from. But here's the thing. Unlike most reality shows that dig into romance or drama, Deadliest Catch has its own unique pull. It pulls viewers into the hard and risky life of crab fishing in the frozen Bering Sea.
Sort of forgot about how miserable it is when it's like this. Everything's twice as hard.
Right now, it's about trying to keep your gear on fresh ground, trying to keep your crew motivated, just keep those steady numbers coming in, and that's it.
For almost 2 decades, the show has kept people glued to their screens with scenes of huge waves, freezing winds, and the countless dangers of commercial fishing. But there's more to it than just the adrenaline of near misses and close calls with death itself. Behind the excitement lies a much deeper story, one of loss, survival, and the toll that fishing can take on the human mind. Watching these fishermen struggle, people can't help but ask why they put themselves at such risk. Why do they keep coming back, season after season, to face life-threatening hazards? Captain Jake Anderson's story. To the viewers, it may seem like each fisherman is out there on their own in the vast, empty sea. But in reality, hundreds of boats are out there too, all vying for the best catch. It becomes a competition, with each crew racing to catch as many crabs as possible and make the biggest profit. This makes the fisherman-harbor rivalry for an already dangerous job. This only makes the work harder and riskier for everyone.
Roger. Nice big boys.
We'll take it. Probably about a 45 there.
Jake's journey has been a good example of the struggles that come with life on the sea. The physical dangers of the icy waters are obvious, but the personal struggles are less visible. He's faced a journey filled with hardship, both from the dangers of his job and the challenges life has thrown his way. Each season, Jake and others like him navigate not just the rough waters, but also the unseen battles behind the scenes. Before he became a familiar face on the show, Jake went through more than most could bear. He faced the dark grip of drug addiction, spent 2 years living on the streets, and suffered through a series of heartbreaking family losses. In the 5th season, Jake's world was shaken by the news that his sister had passed away. But the blows didn't stop there. Only a year later, while Jake was out at sea, he received news that his father had gone missing. Days of uncertainty followed, and he wondered where his father could be until Jake's father was finally found, but not in the way anyone had hoped. His body was discovered in his truck. This tragic turn left Jake grieving, yet somehow he pushed on, carrying the weight of yet another personal tragedy. But there was still more going on behind the scenes. Another fisherman, Joshua Tell Warner, was also dealing with a dark past of his own. Before joining the show, Joshua had been involved in bank robberies. Perhaps he thought being on TV would give him a fresh start, a way to leave his mistakes behind. But instead, the spotlight brought unwanted attention, and his criminal history resurfaced. By 2010, only a year after his appearance on the show, Joshua was arrested for his involvement in the thefts. His brief taste of fame ended as he was sentenced to over 9 years in prison, ending his time on the show and his chance for a fresh start. And then, there was Sverre Hansen and his father, Sigurd, who had moved from Karmøy, Norway in 1958 with one goal in mind: to keep their family's fishing business going.
He doesn't need the stress on this. You don't stay up for 40 hours if you don't have to. You know, it's not something you do after you just had a heart attack.
Their dedication paid off in big ways, especially during the Opilio crab season, when huge profits flooded in, helping not just Sverre but all the crab fishermen who were part of that world. One of the show's most touching and unforgettable moments came from Captain Phil Harris, a man who left an undeniable mark on the team. After suffering a major stroke, Captain Harris made the brave decision to let the cameras keep rolling, capturing every moment as he was being rushed to the hospital for life-saving surgery. He wanted people to see it all. But in a heartbreaking twist, Captain Harris lost his battle shortly after due to complications. His passing hit hard, not just for his family and friends, but for all the fans who had watched his journey, admired his strength, and connected with his spirit. His legacy endured, an emotional reminder to the viewers of the resilience he showed until the very end. And while these were some of the emotional moments, they were far from the only dangers that came with life on the show. The camera crew faces huge risks in Deadliest Catch. Just like the fishermen, the camera crew endure harsh conditions. Imagine working out there on the open water, sometimes for 5 weeks without a single break. Most reality TV crews don't deal with these kinds of dangers, but here they face the same threats as the fishermen themselves. For the fishermen, there's usually pressure to stay within strict catch limits, a rule that's meant to keep the crab population safe. But on this show, the featured crews get a bit of a free pass. They can focus more on catching the crabs without worrying too much about limits. However, not everyone is happy about that. Traditional fishermen feel it's unfair, as they're held to those strict rules, while the Deadliest Catch crews seem to get a pass. As each season rolls on, the tides turn, and everyone wonders what lies ahead for the Hansen family and the future generation of crab fishers.
We've had a shift in the weather, and so you're going to have bigger seas. You have to watch every wave. Watch the rock there. Watch out! Watch out! Watch out!
Yet with all the anticipation, the dangers at sea don't fade either. The fishing crew and the camera crew both face a constant balance between bravery and fear. In 2018, they experienced the effects of a supermoon that created higher tides, adding even more danger to their already risky job. Although nothing major happened that night, Jake Anderson and Wild Bill were uneasy. Both worried about how these powerful tides could threaten safety if things took a sudden turn. Every trip out on those waters is risky, and with weather that's always changing, the threat is real for both the fishing crew and the camera team. This is because one sudden storm can cause chaos, but there's an even bigger threat lurking over these waters. The warming of Alaskan seas has been pushing crabs farther out into colder regions, meaning fishermen now have to venture deeper into dangerous waters to find them. That means that they take their boats farther from shore, putting them in areas with stronger storms and wilder waters, where any help is far away. With all these uncontrollable challenges, the show's director pointed out that these situations affect everyone on board, not just the fishermen, but also the camera crew, making it clear how intense it can get for the whole team. Yet, the show stays away from taking any stance on environmental debates. It sticks to showing the challenges of crabbing without weighing in on the reasons behind them. But that's just one controversy surrounding Deadliest Catch. There have been claims that some scenes on the show are staged.
Hold on! You kidding me? Oh my Lord. Misery!
While the show aims to be as real as possible, especially for the most dangerous moments, sometimes scenes are reshot to get the best angle. That sparked questions among viewers. How much of the show is actually real? And if that wasn't enough, there's also tension over money. In recent seasons, the local Alaskan workers haven't been making nearly as much as those who come in from other states to work on the show. Even though Alaska offers financial incentives to the show's producers, the pay gap is a visible spot. For Alaskan workers, it's a reminder of the tough financial challenges they face despite being right at the heart of the action. The risks and the rewards of Deadliest Catch are big, but for those on the boats and behind the cameras, the reality is never as simple as what's seen on screen. Despite the Deadliest Catch being a TV show, it's more than just entertainment. Sure, some things are tweaked for the camera, but one thing is undeniable. It brings real benefits to Alaska's economy. Every season, as the crews head out into dangerous waters, the show's production pumps money into local businesses by spending on essentials like food, lodging, and transportation. This support helps keep the wheels turning in Alaska. Beyond the money the show brings in, there's been another big shift in the crabbing industry. The fishery has been restructured into a catch share system. This change has dramatically improved safety for the fishermen. Instead of risking their lives battling stormy weather just to catch the biggest haul, crabbers now have set quotas. They no longer need to head out into deadly waters to compete with others, and that shift has made a real difference in the number of accidents and deaths during crab season. Many crabbers will tell you that while the intense moments are still there for the cameras, their real-life work is much safer than it used to be. Who wouldn't want that? But even with improved safety on the water, life for these crabbers is far from easy.
Watch out, you guys. Oh God, you guys. Oh God.
The harsh weather in the Bering Sea, along with tough economic conditions across the country, continue to push these men and women to their limits, physically and mentally. Every day is a battle, testing their strength and endurance. Yet, despite these endless challenges, some good has come from it all. Today, the crab fishing fleet in the Bering Sea stands more united than ever before. This sense of unity is largely thanks to the Alaska Bering Sea Crabbers Group, a dedicated organization that represents the interests of all the crabbing operations in the area. By advocating for the crabbing fleets, this group has become the voice of the entire crabbing community. Their work ensures sustainable fishing practices, fair policies, and support for crabbers facing big challenges like environmental changes and economic pressure. With their leadership, the fleet is more organized, safer, and far more efficient. But that's not where the story ends. In a unique touch, the show's producers use different narrators for each country. For instance, Mike Rowe narrates for American viewers, while Bill Petrie tells the story for audiences in the UK, and Nassar Balkan narrates for viewers in Malaysia. This decision gives the show a local flavor, helping audiences around the world feel a stronger connection by hearing a familiar voice guide them through the action. While this choice helps fans feel closer to the story, it doesn't make life any easier for the Deadliest Catch camera crews. Filming this show is incredibly tough on the equipment. Each season, cameras are damaged or lost to the ocean's deep blue waters. But no matter how many cameras they lose, the crew stays dedicated to capturing the footage. They know the importance of getting the perfect shot, and they're willing to go through a lot to make it happen. But the worst is yet to come for them. Out there in the cold, icy waters, it's not just the cold or the waves. Every shot they capture is a risk, and they face unpredictable dangers at every turn. Their commitment to telling the story is clear, but the hazards they endure are just as real as those faced by the fishermen they follow.
That was literally swimming.
That was the scariest thing I've ever seen. I've taken big waves and I've been on deck like that before, but I've never been up here and seen it.
Yeah.
It's easy to forget, sitting in front of the TV, just how much work and risk go into creating a show like this one. For the fishermen, the job has changed for the better, with new safety measures and a supportive community behind them. But for the people capturing every heart-stopping moment, the challenges are just as big as they've always been. The rewards might be high, but for these camera crews, the risks are even higher. Every season, the crew films about 30,000 hours of footage, leaving editors with the massive job of turning all those hours into exciting stories. But that's just the beginning of the challenges they face. Each season, over a dozen cameras end up destroyed by the harsh conditions out at sea. This means they have to keep spending on more equipment, adding to the costs. And then there's the drama. The show leans into a classic theme: good guys versus bad guys. Some captains are portrayed as villains, giving viewers someone to root against and keeping them hooked. Over the years, a few captains have taken on this bad guy role. Captain Keith Kern and Elliot Neese, in particular, were both painted as villains at different times. It's the kind of tension that keeps fans coming back season after season. But the bad guys were not the only ones bringing attention, good or bad, to the show. The Hillstrand brothers, stars of Deadliest Catch, became fan favorites in no time, even landing their own spin-off show. But fame brought them trouble. After filming their spin-off, the Hillstrands found themselves in a bitter legal battle with the Discovery Channel, where the brothers asked for $3 million in compensation. This dispute led to a sudden departure of the brothers from the network. Surprisingly, they didn't leave alone. They took Captain Sig Hansen with them, sending shockwaves through the Deadliest Catch community. Captain Elliot, another unforgettable figure from the show, suddenly exited in season 11, leaving fans puzzled and wondering why he had left so abruptly. Later, the truth surfaced. Elliot had been battling drug addiction. He entered rehab, but openly admitted to his fans on social media that the journey was far from over. His struggles continued, eventually landing him in more trouble with the law. Neese faced a federal prison sentence and reportedly received between 2.5 years to 5 years behind bars. Recently, he found himself in even deeper trouble, reportedly linked to drug dealing on the Key Peninsula, focusing mainly on heroin. According to K2, he may now be facing a sentence anywhere between 5 to 40 years in prison, leaving his fans shocked yet hopeful for his recovery. But the heartbreak didn't end there for the Deadliest Catch crew. In a tragedy that still haunts the show, director Joseph McMahon lost his life in a shocking and mysterious incident. Known for its intense, dangerous environment, the show has always faced real-life tragedies, including the loss of several crew members and even the sinking of fishing boats. Yet, McMahon's death was different, a tragedy beyond the horror stories told and seen on the cruel seas. He was shot outside his home after investigating a strange noise, and in a shocking turn of events, the person responsible took their own life immediately afterward. It was a gut-wrenching blow to the entire crew, and the shock was felt by fans across the world. Adding to the string of losses, another longtime crew member tragically passed away in his battle with addiction. Starting his crabbing career at just 13 years old, he devoted his life to the sea, but ultimately, his struggles overtook him. His addiction led to a fatal overdose in a Nashville hotel. This death left a dark shadow over the crew and community. Captain Sig's sister, Lydia, shared the grief of this loss, expressing the heartbreak shared by the entire team. Despite the hard lives many on Deadliest Catch lead, the process of getting a fishing license in Alaska is surprisingly simple. Contrary to what the show might make viewers believe, getting a crabbing license requires no prior experience, only a $200 fee. While the show often highlights the dangers of crabbing, the truth is that anyone with a license can head out to sea, whether they're truly ready or not.
And I know that before full moon, you see good fishing. You can't get a read on your gear because you don't know what's going on. My gut tells me to just roll these pots. Sometimes you just gotta take risks.
This fact has raised concerns about safety and whether some people are really prepared for the harsh, unpredictable environment of the sea. While it may add excitement to the show, real-life crabbing demands far more than a simple license. Captain Sig's personal issues. Meanwhile, Captain Sig himself, one of the most resilient faces of Deadliest Catch, has faced battles both at sea and in his own life. Known for enduring dangerous storms and overcoming the many dangers of his profession, Sig faced an even scarier moment in Season 15. At just 52 years old, Sig suffered a heart issue that shocked fans. The heart scare began after he took antibiotics for a sinus infection. During a drive with his wife in Seattle, he suddenly began swelling, making him rush to the hospital. There, a nurse administered a drug, which, in a cruel twist, triggered severe chest pain. Further tests revealed Sig was having a heart attack, his second one. His first heart scare had happened on board the Northwestern back in 2016, and fans were stunned to hear that Sig's health had taken such a troubling turn. With fans worrying over his health, some even suggested Sig step down from the Northwestern. These close calls with death may have shifted Sig's perspective, but he's not ready to leave the sea behind just yet. He's been gradually passing on more responsibilities to his daughter, Mandy, who's now taking on a larger role on the boat. Yet for Sig, the Northwestern remains a huge part of who he is. He admitted that he feels deeply tied to the show and the life he's led, despite the health scare that now lingers in his mind. But that's not all. The Deadliest Catch crew has seen more than a fair share of rough seas and real-life battles. Take Freddie Magatai, or Freddie, a crew member with dreams far beyond crabbing. Known for his energetic personality, Freddie once harbored dreams of becoming a cage fighter, a huge departure from his life at sea. But in 2011, a brawl with a couple led to misunderstandings and accusations that changed his life. Though the media painted Freddie in a bad light, the incident ended his fishing job and seemed to leave his future as a cage fighter uncertain. While Freddie's case seems bad, Elliot's situation gets worse. This is because Captain Elliot might be the crew member with the most notorious reputation. Taking the captain's chair in 2011, Elliot quickly became a divisive figure. His intense personality, loose style, and ongoing struggles with substance abuse kept him in the headlines, often for the wrong reasons.
You multiply it by his drug addiction and everything else, and the guy's got a lot of plate, and he doesn't want to lose Val and his kids, and he doesn't want to let his dad down. It's not good. It's not good.
Fans saw him as the bad guy on the show, with his behavior often drawing criticism, especially regarding crew safety. Elliot's portrayal on the show was far from flattering, and he later voiced his frustrations about it, admitting he wasn't pleased with how he was shown. Elliot's issues didn't stop there. After pleading guilty to possessing a controlled substance with intent to distribute, his struggles with substance abuse had a profound impact on his life, leading him to rehab multiple times and eventually landing him in prison. While some fans empathized with his battles, others couldn't overlook how his actions affected his crew and family. Online discussions about Elliot's behavior painted a picture of a man battling his demons in the harsh public eye of a reality TV show. On a lighter note, one of the newer faces on Deadliest Catch made an incredible impression. Maria Dosal joined the Cornelia Marie during the 2019 snow crab season, and fans quickly took to her bold spirit and skill. Maria started working as a deckhand in 2015 on the FV Pacific Quest, and later moved to the FV Nicholas Michael. Captain Josh Harris, who spoke highly of Maria's abilities, praised the energy she brought to the crew. But Maria's life wasn't just about crabbing. After ending a relationship with fellow fisherman Ryan McDonald, she found love again with Mark Schwantes, a man who shares her passion for the outdoors. The couple welcomed their daughter Hazel in 2020, making Maria's story even more interesting.